I wasn't planning for this to be the first official video, but I am a huge Bad Batch fan, and with season 3 coming up, I just really needed to get like this rant out to make it, I don't know, just to discuss my theories, because I've been seeing a lot of theories that I am worried about. Before we start going straight into that, I assume you would guess this, but spoilers for Bad Batch season 1 and 2 and technically Clone Wars season 7. Um yeah, anyways, I guess the best way to refer to this phenomenon is winter soldierification. If you've seen Marvel, Bucky, the Winter Soldier, that whole thing, which is taking a character, a hero that is like an ally, thinking they're dead, and then, brainwashed, yay, now you have to fight them. Or like, similar stuff, having experiments done on them. And I've seen a lot of theories that this is going to happen with Tech after what happened at the end of season 2. And I I'm not going to say, oh, that's not going to happen, because the thing is, it totally could happen because Disney sometimes makes bad decisions, especially with Star Wars, and they'll be like, oh, for the drama. But I guess I just want to talk about it because I think it is possible. I just think it's a really bad idea, and I'm worried that they're going to choose to do that. And then having that would not only be disappointing to the characters and for the show, it would also ruin all of what they set up in season 2. So, first of all, the main problem with doing this, all other points aside, they have literally done this plot before with a member of the Bad Batch. And now it's not technically winter soldierification. That is very hard to say. Say that 5 times fast. Um Hang on, I want to see if I can do it. Winter soldierification, winter soldierification, winter soldierification, winter soldierification. Is that 5 times? I can't count. Anyways, it wasn't quite that with Echo, but in Clone Wars, there's when they're it's in the Citadel episode. Anyways, in that episode, absolutely nothing precedes it. Just suddenly a ship blows up. And since this is Star Wars, this happens a lot. So you don't really think much of it. Just like, darn, we like clone troopers, and there were some clone troopers there. Oh crap, wait, we like that clone trooper. That was Echo. And he was there. And now he got blown up and is dead. And that's the thing about a lot of fake out deaths, is they are very abrupt. They just happen, and it's not like there's build up to it. Like any time in Marvel when Loki dies, like he does it a lot and there is no build up for it. It just happens, except for the actual death. Um and so that's a common thing with fake out deaths, are very sudden. And then in season 7, we find out Echo is actually alive and they're using him for strategy and stuff. So they did it with Echo, where he had a fake out death and then was experimented upon. And now this doesn't have the same amount of drama as full Winter Soldierification, where you're like fighting them. But they've done several things like that before in Star Wars, like in the Mortis arc when Ahsoka gets kind of possessed and has to fight, and like all this stuff. And there's already been a lot of pitting clones against clones. So I think a better way to do that would just simply be with the assassin clones that we saw in season 2. Um, so they, aside from all the other points I'm about to bring up, they literally did this with another member of the Bad Batch. And sure, it was dramatic then and really important and impactful, but it would be really redundant and repetitive if they did it again with Tech, and then that would mean it loses some of its impact. So like the only real reason I can think for why they would do this is, oh, it's for the drama. but it's not even going to be as dramatic anymore. Sure, it'll still definitely be dramatic, so they definitely still could do it. And don't get me wrong, I would be thrilled if Tech was alive. He is my autistic baby boy. He is my favorite. I love him, but it just wouldn't work. Number one reason being it would be redundant. But ignore the redundancy issue because, with a franchise as big as Star Wars, there are a lot of redundancy issues just because it's been going on for forever and there's a lot of material to work with. So ignoring the redundancy issue, there was a lot of setup for Tech's death. And like I mentioned before, fake out deaths don't really have a lot of setup. But there was so much setup that season 2, episode 1, I was just like, shoot, he's gonna die, isn't he? I don't want him to die. He's my favorite. He's my boy. And I got really nervous. So like all season, I was on edge. I was like, shoot, what's gonna happen to him? Because it was very apparent. There were many, many death flags. There was a lot of setup for his death. Like I said, there were a lot of death flags all the way back in episode 1. I was like, crap, he's gonna die. And they gave him a character to bond with. No, I will not ship them. I will fight anyone who ships them. He is Arrow Ace and I will die on that hill. And had in-depth conversations of him and Omega bonding over their two sides of autism that I really loved. That was a fantastic conversation. And like there was Fee saying bye to him right before they left for the mission. That was a giant death flag. And then also just think about the skills of the Bad Batch members. He and Omega have a lot of the same skills. She's just less experienced. And we've seen him throughout the season teaching her those skills. Which, from a story point of view, why would you have two characters that can do the same thing? Answer, you're not gonna have two characters. Something's gonna happen to one of them. So there was so much setup for it. It was you could tell it was gonna happen. The more important part, other than the setup, is the aftermath. There were actual consequences to his death. And Hunter had to have a conversation with Omega about it. Remember, Omega's like 10, 11, 12 max. She is a child. And sure, she knows people die because she grew up in the Clone Wars, but she was always back on Kamino. She never really saw that. She never got to know them. She never bonded with them as much as she did with all the members of the Bad Batch, but especially with Tech. Like, they are jokingly called the Dad Batch, and it's so true, but Hunter and Tech are the two most parental of all of them, I think. And so that had a big impact on her actually experiencing and realizing that he's gone. So it would be like undermining her learning that if, oh no, he's actually still alive. It would undermine that lesson that she is learning, that death is a real thing. It's not just some vague thing out on the front lines billions of miles away. There would be a big impact there. And also, one of the themes we've been seeing since episode 2 of season 1 is they need to leave being soldiers behind. They need to learn to be regular people, which is why having like a child as part of their group is so important. Her teaching them how to be people rather than just soldiers. And they need to settle down and, actually like raise Omega. Because again, she's a kid. I cannot stress this enough. This poor child needs a hug. And Tech and Hunter were both like, yeah, maybe staying somewhere like Pabu would be good. And Tech sacrificed himself so that the rest of them could get out, and then hopefully, raise Omega, have a normal life, etc. So there are consequences and important results of his death that I think Winter Soldierification would totally ruin that. So those are, I guess, all my reasons about why they shouldn't make it a fake out death in Winter Soldierification. Oh my god, why is that so hard to say? Why they shouldn't do it. But that's like from, outside storytelling point of view and stuff. Inside the story, did you see how far that drop is? There is like absolutely no way anyone could survive that. Like, aside from just the drop, half of a gondola fell on him. Yeah. So, again, it really hurts me because he is my favorite character. But just all things, it would be a really poor decision for them to do the Winter Soldierification with him. Because there's so much going on already. A point my friend made was, like, something with the Winter Soldier, because that's one of her favorite characters. It's like, that is movies long. Spans a long time. Whereas this would be one season. Like, less than a season, basically. So again, it wouldn't even have the same drama effect that they want. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying I really don't think it should happen. I think it would be a really poor decision storytelling wise. And Bad Batch has had really good storytelling so far, and I really don't want them to ruin it. So I'm just really worried about that. Again, aside from just the plot points why they should do it, go look at that episode. You don't even need to watch Plan 99. You can watch the one before that because you see the gondola in the shot and how far of a drop that is. That's not survivable. But on that note, why did they stop putting jetpacks on clone troopers' armor? Huh? That would have been real useful.